I'm Iain Anderson. I'm chair of Cicero AMO, which was a small business that's become part of a larger business. I was until recently the government's LGBT Business Champion, a role I really relished because it was an opportunity, a real big opportunity to push forward in terms of LGBT progress at work, something I really care a lot about, and there's still an awful lot to do. So the role came about when I spoke to government in the spring of 2020, and I said, look, there's an awful lot that's going on in large businesses. Can we not put a spotlight on what's going on for small businesses in terms of LGBT progress? Because there's some great stuff going on. In fact, many people like myself end up creating their own businesses because they just feel more comfortable doing that, creating their own creative ideas, creating their own formats. But I don't know if government understands or sees that, policymakers kind of see that. And so there was a chance really to create an opportunities for large and small businesses to kind of collaborate. And actually, one of the things that government has been able to do while I've been doing that job is to think a lot more about how large and small businesses can collaborate within supply chains for LGBT progress at work. I think it's really important for businesses to get involved in LGBT progress at work, not least because customers, staff, investors are asking that question. They're asking that question a lot. I think there's been a kind of huge sort of societal change on these issues. Thank goodness for the better. People are talking a lot about something called ESG, environmental and social and governance. And for me, this is a tangible part of the S of ESG, making a really big commitment in terms of social progress at work. And let's face it, where do people spend most of their waking hours? They spend a lot of their time at work. So I think if we can make more progress, we can shine a spotlight on effective actions without being burdensome, then it's a really good idea. I think my really big message is just embrace this agenda. I mean, since I did, my business is 4 or 5 times larger than it was. It's created more opportunity. The wonderful thing about small businesses is that they're very nimble, they're very agile. You can have an idea in the morning and be implementing it in the afternoon. Don't be afraid is really what I would say. Embrace this agenda, because you're actually going to do more in your business. You're going to, I think, gain a significant kind of a level of new business as well. I wish I'd taken on this agenda much earlier in my career. But don't be afraid, go for it. Yeah, I was really sad to step back. I thought we were getting some really strong progress, particularly as the first ever LGBT Business Champion. But for me, it was a matter of principle. The reason I stepped back was that the government made a commitment that it would be banning conversion therapy, an absolutely abhorrent practice. It's absolute quackery. It was in the government's manifesto. The commitment was that it would include all LGBT people. I was the LGBT champion, not the LGB champion. And therefore, for me, it was a matter of principle. Look, I just hope now that when the legislation passes through Parliament, that policymakers, that MPs make the legislation the all-inclusive legislation that it needs to be, and that the public support. Since I walked away, the polling is very clear. Over 60% of the public want to see an inclusive ban, and 80% of the public believe that conversion therapy is abhorrent. I think it's just fantastic that the FSB is creating a hub around LGBT issues, so that businesses can share best practice, so that they can buddy up. Frankly, like any business owner, you just want to do more business. And if this is a way of, at the same time, allowing faster progress on LGBT at work for the small business sector, I think that's just going to be fantastic. So look, I'm thrilled that the FSB, who've been amazingly supportive of all my work whilst I was LGBT Business Champion. It's fantastic that it's pushing forward with this.